Yo, 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 what is good to all my family out there, man? Welcome to another movie review. Um, Comic Cons. Proud to bring you guys this one. Transformers, the first movie. To me, the best one before my time, but uh, like I told you, uh, my older brothers and sisters, they actually would have been proud of me. Jeffrey, Missy, Gloria, Tiny, and peace be upon my oldest brother Jose. You know, I mean, they put me on with this movie. Always love this movie. We talked about it. This is a quick interlude before we actually get into the breakdown. We talked about it on Drew Titan's show, Bear Cave Entertainment. Make sure y'all go over there and subscribe. Had a great time. You know what I mean? You know, because boxing, we always going back and forth with this fighter and that fighter, and that's always going to be home. Y'all could catch me when it's big fights. If it ain't no big fights, I'm going to be on this channel most of the time, building this channel, because there's actually a circuit over here for like stuff like this where we cover movies based on comic books, because you know Transformers, a lot of the movies that I review and break down is still going to the comic book genre, because you know Transformers is also a comic book. So even with Terminator versus RoboCop, when I did last week, that's a comic book within itself, which I gotta get. They want 118 for volume 2, though. I'm like, dang, I still might get it. I might just collect all those volumes. Let me get in the um, comment section real quick and see everybody that's in the building. Salute. Salute to Macadocious Mac of the South. Salute, bro. Salute to my sis Tay Tay. Salute, Queen. Uh, uh, I'm blocking in the building. I ain't gonna say the whole thing. This is a children's channel, so I gotta kind of stray away from the derogatory stuff. D-Man Jr.'s in the building. Salute. D-Man Jr., man, I got to bang the gavel on you. Because I know you said we know who Cadillac Red is, so you don't know who I am. You know who Cadillac Red is, but you don't know who I am. All right, D-Man Jr. All right, you lucky I'm on my children's channel. If I was on the Jab Jamboree, you would have caught hell. All right? I ever hear you say that again, you only know who Cadillac Red is. I was going to say that was a lie in my Maury show voice. That was a lie. Michael Ray the second, salute, bro. Derek Gange. He said, you know they brought Prime back in the series. I'm going to keep it real. I ain't going to lie. My first introduction to this, he said, I ain't say that. Yo, I seen it. I see it. I see what you said. Just know I'm everywhere. Shoot. I'm the Optimus Prime with this. No, I'm not. Optimus died. You know what I mean? I'm more of a young boy. I probably would have been Hot Rod. I'd have been the one clowning around. Well, you know what? We're gonna talk about it. Let's build. First of all, Transformers probably like out of y'all that grew up in the 80s and was, you know, around. I gotta keep it real. I give y'all that. With that cartoon, if you ask me from like Drew's time and like all the OG's time, uh, what was the best cartoon in the 80s to me? She said, now it's Act Pain. Yeah, that was a video game that I grew up off of called Max Payne when I was really little. I had that game, me and my older brother. You know what I'm saying? We used to play that. Look that game up, Tay Tay. It was actually a good game. So let's get into it. So in the beginning, Unicron, who's the first Transformer, goes to a planet I believe called Kronex, and we see him in the beginning devouring a planet. Now, I believe when he devours planets, Unicron, it fuels his energy. It's just like us with eating food. It fuels our energy. You know what I mean? And he's not in his he hasn't he can transform, but he hasn't transformed. He's in his globe or world state of being, Unicron. And when he consumes planets, people don't always automatically die. You know what I mean? Sometimes they get digested in his body, and he has all different type of functions going on with inside of him, which we're gonna break down later. Which we're gonna definitely break down later. Uh, Unicron is very powerful. Uh, what I would like to know, you know what I mean, and I wish I could ask the Transformer creator is um, how did the other Autobots and Decepticons, how did they come to be? Like, did he like spew them out, or like what was I would love to know what was the situation with that. He said I had Max Payne. He said Max Payne was pretty good. Yeah, the first one was good. I don't know. The second one wasn't bad, I guess. I was too young, so 29, champ. He said from the old. See, Derek Gaines had to put me on. Derek Gaines had to put me on. He said from the oil spark. All right, you got me. You got me. Of course, Golden Eye, yo, bro, you can't count that. You can't count that. Yeah, but I got brothers and sisters older than you, bro. They like Drew age. Like it's 9 of us. It's like literally an older group from like the 70s and 80s, and then you got like a younger group of kids that's from like the 90s and 2000s. With me and my brothers and sisters, so it's a big group. I come from a big family. That's probably why I want a small family. If I ever did have a family, you don't get no more but 3 kids from me. After that, you can do whatever you want. 3 is my limit. That's it. That's all. So now we go to Cybertron. It's 2005. At this time, at this particular time, uh, the Decepticons actually take over the planet, but they're going to want to. They got Laserbeak. Hold on. They got Laserbeak infiltrating what the Autobots is doing in their plan. Optimus Prime wants a few of the Autobots um, to go preserve the Energon cubes. Um, I don't think that was a smart move from Optimus. I'm actually a tad bit disappointed in Optimus on that. He should have knew something was going to happen. And on top of that, I wouldn't have had none of my troops go anywhere. They done took over Cybertron, and their numbers is a little bit better than ours. I need all hands on deck. I would have never let like I would have never let my troops go out there like that. And then Jazz uh checks in with Spike and Bumblebee. It seemed like Spike and Bumblebee went everywhere together. But this is an older version of Spike. This ain't the one from them live action movies. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't like the live action movies. I think I only watched like 1 or 2 of them. I still think this one is the best. I just got to keep it a stack. I still think this one is the best. But and now Laserbeak, he reports back to Megatron. Megatron is one of the best villains y'all ever had for y'all that grew up in the 80s. To all my OGs, Tay Tay and Drew, you know what I mean? My big sis and my big bro. I don't care what y'all say. Him and probably, I ain't really like He-Man, but I think Skeletor made the series. Skeletor was hilarious. I ain't really, that ain't really my time, but I did watch a couple episodes and stuff like that. I always thought Skeletor had me crying with his voice and stuff like that. But I say Megatron was because he thought what he was doing was good. You know what I mean? He was willing to do anything to save Cybertron. So now what happens is because Laserbeak infiltrated what the Autobots is doing, now Megatron intercepts the ship. He intercepts the ship and all hell breaks loose. They start killing the Autobots. Now, I wasn't around then. But from what Drew tells me, I'm trying to go into the mind frame of people that was old enough to comprehend. Autobots thing used to die on the TV show. And to see them actually getting assassinated and I ain't gonna lie, this probably was one of the best scenes because from what my OGs tell me, you never really see any Autobots. You see them get injured real bad, but you never see them, die. And they definitely intercepted their ship and did that to the Autobots. And the plan is to go to Earth where the Autobots' base is and fool them, thinking that it's the Decepticons are going to fool them and think that it's the Autobots that's arriving, when it really is not. Thank God for Daniel and Hot Rod. Thank God for Daniel and Hot Rod. I don't care what nobody said. Especially Daniel, because if Daniel didn't want to watch them land, Hot Rod would have never been able to zoom in to see who was really on the ship, because what was strange is that there was a hole blown in the ship. So that raises awareness. So we got to thank God for Daniel. If they still was fishing by the lake, who knows what would have happened? It probably would have been worse. Because the Autobots, they had where they were based at on Earth. It seemed pretty solid. And then they could transform that base or whatever. But the Decepticons, for them to take over the planet, I think I need to watch the TV show what led up to that, because I didn't think the Autobots could ever take an L like that. So now he zooms in. He said, "Yeah, they didn't die. You just they just disappeared." He said, "I was disappointed when I seen the Autobots." Oh yeah, wait, hold on. I skipped something. He said, "I was a big He-Man fan." He said, "I was disappointed to see Autobots base transformed into a huge dinosaur. We also, I didn't know that, because in a movie it didn't get to transform." Oh, okay. See, Derek Gaines, see? That's how I know y'all older than me. Y'all put me on with stuff I didn't even know. I didn't know that. Shout out to Derek Gaines on that. I didn't even know that. He said, yeah, they didn't. He said they didn't get to see Omega Supreme. Oh, okay. So that's who that was, Derek Gaines? All right. All right. So now they get found out. Cup and Hot Rod got to make their way back to the base. They got to make their way back to the base because basically, the Decepticons get found out. And the plan is to, lock down the base before the Decepticons could infiltrate the area. He said, I only cried twice in the movie when Prime and Mufasa. You stupid. Talk about a Lion King. He said, Scar, brother, help me. He said, long live the king. And threw him down with the stampede. Ain't that nothing with brothers like that? Shoot, you might as well be around your enemies. That's terrible. That was terrible. That's terrible. How he did him. We might have to break that one down too, Derek Gaines. We might have to break that one down too. So now the Decepticons is on the Autobots heavy. Cliffhanger, RC, all of them is, trying to run away from Starscream, and all of them is on their helmet. It's getting real bad real fast. And basically what they want to do is get the message out to Optimus Prime, their leader, the Autobots, that they're being under attack at one of their bases. They had a toy Autobot base that transformed the first generation Megatron transformed into a gun. I couldn't find him anywhere. You know what's crazy, bro? You probably could get it on Amazon if you collect it. You know what I'm saying? If you are collected, because I know OGs, that still collect stuff, not just comics. So now Hot Rod and Cup, they get inside the base, and some Autobots and Decepticons are still fighting from the outside. I can't lie to you, man. I thought it was going to get real bad for the Autobots. Like, things around this time, like Derek Gaines, if you're still there, how did things get so bad to where the Decepticons ended up being able to take over Cybertron, and the Autobots had to commit to staying on Earth? That's what I want to know. I will literally buy all the seasons just to find that out. I want to know how things got so bad. Yeah, man. Don't get me wrong. We're gonna talk about the stuff from my era. That Pokemon live is coming. Y'all gonna be mad. I know Junior ain't gonna like it. He said Pokemon. Pokemon was a big deal when I was a baby, man. When I was a kid, what? That Pokemon one is coming. Another great cartoon. If you ask me what cartoons as a kid I couldn't live without, though, forget the animes and or I gotta keep it real. Like if I only could have two, it would have been Batman the animated series and Spider-Man the animated series. You know what I mean? Those I just thought those series was groundbreaking. You know what I mean? I'm an anime dude, but I'm not a bigger anime dude than I am when it comes to DC and Marvel. I'm really a comic book guy. Like that's like when it comes to the nerd stuff, that's really my realm. You know what I mean? Drew know that. You know what I mean? When it come to that, and only other person like Stay Ready is good too. I give it to Stay Ready. Stay Ready is good. But so now let me get back to the movie. So now what's happening is the Autobots is basically fighting for their lives. Um, and Devastator actually forms and is about to like break into the base. Like it's getting like crazy. When I tell you it's getting crazy, it's getting real crazy. But right then and there, you know who comes to save the day, y'all. Cause I'm gonna tell you right now, Devastator, it was about to be a wrap. It was about to be a wrap, but and let me give credit, even though they didn't have Prime, the Autobots fought very well for a long time. They fought very well for a long period of time. I gotta give them credit. But Optimus came through with the Dinobots. Shoot, I think Optimus and the Dinobots alone could change the tide. And I love that part. Me and Drew talked about that. He said Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. See, y'all should have knew right there that Optimus was going, something bad was going to happen. When Optimus said that, y'all should have knew something bad was going to happen. When he said Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. And then he transformed. He wasn't even in his robot form. He was beating everybody. He beat like half the Decepticons up. That don't make no sense. That's crazy. In his his car form, he was using the pickup and beating half of the Decepticons up. He said, I collected comics since the 70s. Unfortunately, my collect. Oh man, that's like me with the Pokemon cards. I probably would have sold all my Pokemon cards. Yeah, so Optimus Prime started putting in work. He finds Megatron. And he says one of the most legendary lines ever, right, Derek Games? One shall rise, one shall fall. And Megatron hates nothing more than the Optimus Prime. That's his sworn enemy, man. Their rivalry was so great. And to be honest with you, Megatron was about to be finished. He lost his hand cannon and everything. But I ain't go for it. Megatron did a pretty good job. Like he cut Optimus open. and all of that. He did a very he's doing a great job. You know what I mean? But then I love Hot Rod to death, man, but I gotta bang the gavel on Hot Rod, man. Because if he would have never interfered, I wonder what would have happened. If Hot Rod wouldn't have interfered, I'm wondering what would have happened. And being that Hot Rod interfered, that kind of made everything go left. That kind of made everything go left. My fault, y'all. Yeah. I actually found that out because of this channel that I watch. They cover certain things like this too. And I didn't know that he actually ended up like becoming an Autobot. Um, so now basically because Hot Rod interferes, um, Megatron shoots Optimus Prime, and Optimus Prime is really weak. But Optimus Prime had enough effect to where it had the Decepticons retreating and fleeing the scene. And Astro Train gets them out of there. Tay Tay says it's been years since I watched the cartoon. That was a good cartoon, man. So now we go to Optimus, and Optimus is basically what we call on Earth on life support. He on life support, man. Cup is there, RC's there, Ultra Magnus is there. Um, and then basically Prime gives his last words. Prime gives his last words, and he hands down the Autobot matrix of leadership. He hands it down to Ultra Magnus. And Ultra Magnus doesn't feel like he's worthy. But a strange thing actually happens when he hands the matrix over from inside his chest. What happens is Hot Rod catches it and then hands it over to Ultra Magnus. To me, that was very symbolic. Sometimes you could have the wrong person leading. That's what that represented to me. Sometimes it's the unlikely person that is the perfect person to lead. So to me, that scene right there, if you didn't catch that gem, that was very symbolic and how it glowed even when Hot Rod touched it and handed it over to him. So that's one of my favorite parts in the movie because that to me said something. It didn't glow when Ultra Magnus touched it. It didn't have that same feel to it. So something deep within was inside of Hot Rod Even though he was never serious, he laughed and he played around. I'm gonna tell you, there's another story like that in Beowulf. When Beowulf actually, Beowulf was a great hero. He didn't have any kids or anything like that. But what ends up happening is Wheatloaf. He's the youngest. He always clowns around. He's never serious. He always jokes around. What ends up happening is at the end when Beowulf fights the dragon and all of the dudes that really rolled with Beowulf abandoned him. But guess who stayed with him? The kid that always joked around and played around. He rolled with him to the end. And when Beowulf slayed the dragon, he gave him the kingdom. He had no son and no daughter, so he had to give it to the next best man. So that's what this story kind of reminds me of. But we're gonna keep building. So Astro Train basically says right now that there's a lot of dead weight on the ship. Unicron is all knowing and all seeing. He sees this. And basically they vote to have the dead weight taken off the ship. And Starscream ain't nothing, man. Shout out to Soundwave. Soundwave was the only one that really like was a true friend of Megatron. Cause if it was up to Starscream, he would have left him on Earth. But they ended up throwing all of the Decepticons that weren't in good condition off the ship. And Starscream nominates himself as the leader. Nominates himself as the leader. He wanted to be the leader the whole time. You know what I mean? Him and Megatron never really got along. He said, "You bring out the kid in me." Yo, this is why this is my children. Yo, like I told you, I'm on the same type of time as Drew. I'm not talking about every boxing card no more. Only the cards that I feel like matter to me. I'm building this channel. There's a circuit here with the comic book, with the nerds and stuff like that. There's a circuit here. So we're gonna rock on that. We're gonna talk about all stuff even before me. So now Megatron floating into the abyss, he meets Unicron for the first time. And Megatron is so arrogant. He said, Megatron, he said, who summons me? He said, nobody summons me. He said, and then Unicron said, it pleases me to be the first. And he basically tells him what he wants to do. He wants him to destroy the Autobot matrix of leadership because that's the only thing that can destroy Unicron. So what ends up happening is Megatron doesn't want to accept that first because he's used to doing his own thing. He doesn't want to be tied down to any boss. He's used to being the boss. So he doesn't want to be tied down to anybody. That's not Megatron's style. And I love how he tries to reject somebody like Unicron. That shows you how optimistic Megatron is. You know what I mean? That he can even challenge, Unicron, who's like, he's the first Transformer. He's basically a planet. And he gives Megatron an offer. And basically what ends up happening is he's like, I'm going to either destroy you or you're going to work for me. So Megatron ends up accepting the terms and he ceases to be Megatron. and transforms into Galvatron. Which he's a much bigger, stronger Decepticon than Megatron was. He said, I had some Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I never had Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I did watch the series because it used to come on when I was little before I used to go to school. Blocking. I ain't gonna lie. You know what's crazy is I forgot who was on the panel. He was like he used to play the game. He never watched the series. The series is actually good though. He said, speaking of cards, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh card games. See? So now the Decepticons are headed back to go confront Ultra Magnus, because Ultra Magnus is the leader now, to go confront Ultra Magnus about the Autobot Matrix of Leadership. But before he does that, he has to make a pit stop. He makes a pit stop on Cybertron, which Starscream is being coronated, which he always wanted, and becoming the leader. But Galvatron, he stops that. He stops that from happening. He like, no, that's not happening. And he turns into a big cannon. See, I like what he transformed into Derek Gaines better. That made more sense. Like, you see the big cannon on Megatron's hand, but he transformed into a little gun. That made no sense to me. So I liked the Galvatron a little bit better. He just seemed cooler. His body, like the only bad thing about him, he had to sacrifice, because now he was kind of a part of Unicron. So if he would try to disobey or something like that, then things would go left for him when it come to Unicron. So he kind of had to really listen. And now Ultra Magnus and the gang see that the Decepticons are coming. They coming in hot and heavy, y'all. And not only that, in the meanwhile, while they're on their way to Earth to the base of the Autobots, Unicron is eating Moon Base 1. And that kind of makes Galvatron flip out, and he's like, how dare Unicron, Cybertron and its moons are mine. And then, his cavalry has to remind him, like, yo, we belong to him now. He said Galvatron was crazy. He said it was a fun game. Galvatron is crazy. Like I said, I felt like this was better than all the live action movies. I don't know. I'm a big critic when it comes to movies. I'm probably a bigger critic with movies than boxing. And so basically, Spike and Bumblebee try to get out of there because they was on Moonbase 1, but they get sucked into Unicron. They don't die; they just inside a Unicron. So at this particular point, Galvatron gets reminded who he serves, and he makes his way over to to Earth to confront the Autobots. Dang, and they base looked it bad. They base was really tore up, after that fight. Because right now, I believe this is the Cybertronian Wars, as they call it, Derek Gaines. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right now, it's 2005, and it's supposed to be the Cybertronian Wars. And, like I said, they get infiltrated. Megatron shows up. I mean, sorry, I said Megatron. I mean, Galvatron shows up. And basically what ends up happening is he corners Ultra Magnus. RC and Daniel's running. They basically have to get off of Earth and leave. So they end up splitting up. The Dinobots, Cup, Hot Rod go with the Dinobots, and Ultra Magnus and Daniel, RC. They go their separate ways. They're in two separate ships. Probably was better that way, so that the Decepticons wouldn't be able to find them as fast, but they ended up getting split up anyway. And Cup and Hot Rod were able to put them in the ship. Magnus and all of them weren't able to put the Dinobots in the ship. I wonder if they would have stood and fight here, like stayed and fought, would they have been able? Maybe not, even with the Dinobots. Because I guess their numbers were so great. The Decepticons' numbers was just. And then I got to remember, too, I got to take into account that Galvatron got the enhanced body and weaponry, so it probably wouldn't have worked out for him. So now, basically, Hot Rod and Cup, their ship gets blown up. And they end up in the savage land of the Sharkticons. They end up in the savage land of the Sharkticons. Let me pull up the Sharkticons right there. And that is a planet where they judge you. Even though they say you guilty, you innocent, really that means guilty. and basically all hell breaks loose. So they are captured and they're put in prison, and they're actually separated from the Dinobots. The Dinobots are actually looking for Hot Rod and Cup. And then there's this little transformer that's on that planet named Wheeling. And he wants to lead the Dinobots to Hot Rod and Cup. And you see how badly broken Cup was when they first landed there? Hot Rod had to fix him. He's like, "You missing a part." And Hot Rod's like, "Nah." Like he took care of everything. And I have to say, Galvatron was just as dumb as Megatron, because remember how he thought he destroyed the ship and he thought he killed Ultra Magnus in the Autobot Matrix of Leadership? And he wanted to know why he was getting tormented and stuff like that, because he thought that that's how cocky and arrogant Megatron is. I don't even think Skeletor was that arrogant. I don't think no other bad guy was as arrogant as Megatron. See, in my day, when they redid Transformers, it was called Beast Wars. You see the last live action movie that they did? That's basically the one I grew up off of. What happens was they was still Transformers, but they were in like animal form. Like Optimus Prime was a gorilla. I believe Megatron was a scorpion. It was good. It used to come on around the same time. It used to come on either before or after Pokemon, but it was good. It used to be on Fox Kids when I was really little. I used to love that show. So Transformers kind of still transcended into the next generation. So yeah, like I said, where was I? Hot Rod and Cup ended up on the savage land of the Sharkticons. And what happened to Ultra Magnus and the other Autobots is they ended up on the planet of junk. Now I don't know what kind of planet that was, but they ended up in the planet of junk with the Junkticons, which I believe they're called. Trust me, I did all my homework. I'm not making this stuff up. I like the Junkticons. The Junkticons, they could repair anything in seconds. So they somebody I would have wanted to have on my team if I was an Autobot or a Decepticon. So the Dinobots find Wheeling, start looking for Cup and Hot Rod. Uh, and basically they run the planet. The Sharkticons end up being afraid of the Dinobots. They become afraid of the Dinobots up to a point to where they send the Sharkticons to destroy their leader. They destroy their leader. And basically, they end up off the planet, but they're looking for a way to get out. And then Whelan shows them a ship that they can use. They use the ship. It's a weird type of ship, but it don't matter as long as it flies. I agree with Hot Rod on that. As long as it flies, it doesn't really matter. And in the meanwhile, while they're trying to locate Ultra Magnus and the other Autobots, Galvatron ends up finding Ultra Magnus. He ends up destroying Ultra Magnus to where he's not functioning. You don't kill him, but to where he's not functioning, and takes the Autobot Matrix of leadership and believes he can destroy Unicron as long as he takes that. So basically, when he takes that, he heads towards Unicron, and Unicron gets so upset that he swallows Galvatron whole. He swallows Galvatron whole, pause, and tells him that I was going to spare Cybertron. He ends up transforming. And he starts to try to rip apart Cybertron. So now you got Decepticons, Autobots trying to fight him, and just so that he doesn't destroy Cybertron. The Autobots get there, Hot Rod and the rest of the Autobots. They fly into. Hold on, let me read the comments. They fly into Unicron's eye. When they fly in Unicron's eye, they end up going into his digestive system, which ain't good for nobody. He said, I watched Dinobots could have I watched the Dinobots could have combined. Oh, they could. Oh, yeah, they could. I think I remember that. He said they could combine. Yeah, why didn't they combine, them idiots? And basically they get split up again. Um, Ultra Magnus and the rest end up falling this way, and RC and all of them end up falling one way, and then Hot Rod falls in the same area where Galvatron is. Galvatron ends up wanting to side actually with the Autobot. Shoot, when you think about it, Derek Gaines, he wanted to side with them then. He said, like it or not, Autobot, we have a mutual enemy. He was ready to join up with them just to save Cybertron. To keep a stack with you. Now that I think about it, he definitely said that. But then, that hold that Unicron has on him, he made him fight Hot Rod, and when everything looks bad, Hot Rod grabs the Autobot matrix of leadership and becomes, this is one of my favorite parts in the movie, and becomes Rodimus Prime. Well, he said Derek Gaines when he opened the Autobot matrix, he said, "Now light our darkest hour." You know what I mean? See, Ultra Magnus couldn't do that. He wasn't the chosen one. Hot Rod was. So I'm actually disappointed in Prime that he didn't see that. So it happens before everybody gets flooded into Unicron's stomach, and he blows up because basically Rodimus Prime releases the Autobot Matrix leadership spark, and is about to destroy Unicron. He he does the command that he always knew Optimus Prime to do. Autobots transform and roll out. And, that's what they did. And they got out of there. And he defeated Galvatron. Galvatron's floating in space. And that marked the end of the Cybertronian Wars. That marked the end of the Cybertronian Wars. And basically, that's the end of the movie. This was a really good movie. Like I said, it had a lot of gems dropped in the movie. Let me see what y'all saying in the comment section. He said, yeah. He said, oh, you said, sorry, I wish they could have combined. Oh, they didn't combine. Okay. I thought they did. Nah, maybe I'm thinking of Devastated. Yup, but it wasn't the darkest hour yet, not until Unicron attacked Cybertron. Yeah. Well, he would have never attacked Cybertron if Galvatron didn't do what he did. If Galvatron didn't do what he did, everything would have been cool. It wouldn't even have been any trouble. But Galvatron wanted to take the Autobot Matrix of leadership, and he thought, him having that, he could open it, but he didn't realize that it couldn't be opened by a Decepticon. He didn't know that. He didn't know that. bots knew that. He didn't know that. But that's my time. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure y'all keep in touch and stay locked in. Derek Games, we're going to be doing a lot. When I get my bro stay ready, hopefully whenever he ever gets some time. If not, I can't knock him. We're going to cover comic books too. That's the main focus. I want to cover Batman: The Long Halloween. If he can't make it, I have to cover it by myself. Yo, Block, man, salute to you, bro. Salute to everybody that showed up. I'm gonna get up out of here. And shout out to the mighty LDBC, the full Berserker clan, the Usual Suspect 6. Make sure you shop usualsuspect6.com because you fit the description. And yeah, man, I'm going to be back with another one. Peace.